there are certain things in life, like skateboarding or basketball, that I think to myself, man, I wish I was good at those things. I wish I could take part in those things and really just love them and those be my things because I think they'd be pretty cool. Basketball was really popular with my friends. Skateboarding was more so just a funny one. People do a kickflip. I don't think skateboarding would be that productive in my everyday life, but who knows? You never know. Another one of those things that I really wish that I could understand and respect are RPGs, as in role-playing games, and JRPGs for Japanese role-playing games. And the reason I'm talking about this specifically is I've had conversation with several of my friends over the years, and I figure it's time to have the conversation with you all. I'm not much of an RPG guy. I know, big shocker, white guy, brown hair, all I'm missing is the glasses. Unfortunately, I don't have my blue light glasses on me right now. I should, considering I've been at the desk all day on my phone or the computer. But I know it's popular for those brown hair, blue eye, white with glasses Nintendo YouTubers. Like, well, I'm not much of an RPG guy, I just play Nintendo games. But thankfully, these days, I'm not really much of a Nintendo YouTuber. I play a lot of Nintendo games and cover a lot of Nintendo games, and especially on my main channel, Nog TV, most of my videos are about Nintendo games, but I do cover other stuff. And I don't wear glasses, really. There was, unfortunately, a time in my life where I thought that would give me more, like, YouTube credibility to wear glasses, because a lot of people did. So I wore my blue light glasses as if they were real glasses. Not proud of that moment, but it was just a little funny quirk that didn't really pan out. So I don't do that anymore. But with RPG games and JRPGs, I guess I don't really need to say RPG games. I've always called it RPG games, even though the G is for games in RPG. So it's like saying role-playing games. RPGs and JRPGs are something that I've never really been able to fully sink my teeth into, and I see a lot of discourse online, and I've had discourse with some of my friends about RPGs and JRPGs, about how, the really cultured, really niche, the really intense gamers in the corners of various gaming corners, those are the ones that are into RPGs and JRPGs, and you're not really a serious gamer. You're not really an epic gamer unless you play those, because otherwise you're too scared. You don't have any taste, and you just play easy games. You're just a casual. And for a long time in my life, I hated being called a casual. Gaming was this one thing that I thought was my hobby, was my thing, that I did more than my friends, or I did more than anyone in my family, and everyone had like their little thing. Like, so and so likes this, they're this. Well, I like video games. I'm a gamer. And so when people call me a casual, or say, oh man, you can't be in this conversation, you can't provide any input on this because you don't play these type of games, you don't enjoy these type of games. So since I got out of high school and college and was living on my own, and had my own jobs to buy my own games and my own systems, I've really been expanding out, where I didn't just play Mario and Zelda and like the basic sports games. I started trying a lot of new franchises. I've tried Pokemon and gotten into it over the years. Metal Gear Solid, even Sonic. I didn't really grow up with Sonic, outside of Sonic Heroes. That's a video for another day. In fact, I think I've made videos about that before. But now I've kind of gotten into Sonic a little bit more. The Yakuza games. And the reason I'm making this video, and the latest one I've been exploring, is none other than Xenoblade Chronicles. And the reason for that is because one of my best friends, the main one I'm talking about in this conversation where we talked about RPGs and JRPGs, he's a big Xenoblade Chronicles fan. Xenoblade he lives, dies, breathes, snorts, farts it, and probably pisses it out. And he's a big Xenoblade guy. And that's cool. That's awesome. Love that for him. But I didn't. The games felt long. They were kind of anime-like. They weren't really my speed, and plus they're an RPG, so it's not for me. However, it began to get to a point where on social media I was seeing all these posts about it. Another YouTuber that I've kind of gotten to know. I say get to know. We've done a little bit of content together, like one video, and then had some conversations on Discord together. Really great guy, by the way. Kevin, K Jewelers. He really love his content. He's underrated. He should have a lot more subscribers. I think he's got like 25K or something, but 25K is light work for the type of, content he's making. He should have a lot more than that, and he's very, very good at what he does. The way he writes his scripts, very detailed. His editing is amazing. A guy that I've actually tried to take some inspiration from as far as the way he writes his scripts, because that's something I hate doing. Sometimes I tried anything to avoid writing a script and just go off the cuff. It works sometimes, and other times it doesn't. And I don't know how he does it, but he's really good at it. He is also a big Xenoblade guy, and I know it's what he does. A lot of his content, probably the majority of his videos, are somewhatly Xenoblade themed or relative. And so I was, you know what? Now it's not just one friend that's telling me to play Xenoblade. Now it's two. And now I'm seeing it all over social media. And the tipping point, the straw that broke the camel's back, which I don't know how a straw breaks a camel's back. I guess there's too much of it. But in this case, the one that did it was the Nintendo Direct we had a month ago in June. The one I initially was like, man, this is a big stinky fart of a Direct. It's bad. It's doo-doo juice. Because really the only thing out of it I liked was the fact that they announced the Ocarina of Time remake, which unfortunately had already been leaked, and so it was kind of something I was expecting, even if I shouldn't have been. And at that point, I was like, this is unbelievably bad Direct. And I say that. I don't feel that way anymore. It was fine. I still don't think it's a great Direct, but it was good. It was decent. It was tolerable. I think a lot of the disappointment had been just from the fact that there weren't a lot of first-party, like, regular Nintendo, the ones that people want to see, like Mario Kart, Mario Party, 3D Mario, basically Mario. No Luigi's Mansion either. That was something I was disappointed in not seeing. But they've been really slow in drip-feeding their content. And so in some of these droughts where I'm like, well, there's, I need some more Nintendo games to play. I need to use my Switch 2 for something. I began to look at Xenoblade, and one of the things they talked about was how every Xenoblade game was getting a Switch 2 edition. And it looked really good, and it looked really nice. The world was great, and the music sounded great, which I've known that that's all good and well for some time. But it looked like something I actually might try playing, and I thought, well, at some point, they also got the new Xenoblade Genesis announced for next year, and I thought, what a time to hop in the franchise, what a time to hop in the series right before a new game comes out. That's always one of the easier points to get into a franchise, is when it's lively and it's moving and things are happening. So I, thought about it for probably a couple of weeks and was like, because I knew what was going to happen. I knew the minute I texted my buddy and told him, he was going to flip out and there'd be no going back. Even if I had decided not to try Xenoblade, somehow it would have been roped in and probably he would have had my head. So eventually I thought about it. I was like, you know what? And I texted him one night and I was like, I'm thinking about trying the Xenoblade games. And sure enough, he lost his mind. He lost his ever-living mind. He was very happy, though, very supportive about it. And I decided to get Xenoblade Chronicles Switch 2 Edition. And I'm only my playtime says I'm 8 hours in. I'm probably actually only maybe an hour or two into the story. Because I've just been playing battles over and over again just to grind. Because I'm so bad at RPGs, I feel like I have to grind instinctively to make up for my lack of skill. But it's really fun. It's really great. The story is surprisingly really deep so far. There's a lot of lore to it. Sorry, I have to keep getting the hair out of my eyes because I need a haircut, but I've been too lazy. The story's really good. The gameplay, the combat I really love. I have no qualms or issues with it so far. Again, not very far into it, but no real major issues. And I'm excited to see where it goes. It's something that if you had told me a year, 2 years, 3 years ago, heck, if you'd even told me in high school or college, when I was even trying to get into more games and experiment a little bit more, I probably still would have told you you're crazy if you think I'm going to play Xenoblade. You're crazy if you think I'm going to spend hundreds of hours in a JRPG and, something like that. Because historically, I've never played the Persona games. I hadn't played, Xenoblade up until that point. Never played Persona. I did try in 2022. I played the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I enjoyed it. And then, of course, when Rebirth came out, again, I don't know why I'm saying again. I didn't mention this yet. In 2022, when Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out, I did beat it. Now, it took me about 9 months because I started it and played the first couple chapters, and then I stopped, and then I played it, and then I stopped, and then I got kind of slow at a couple points, and then I had this really weird bout. I was also working a job that was stressing me out at the time, but this thing where most of the time when I'd play it, it'd be at night right before bed. And the music in that game and the areas are so beautiful and so like serene and peaceful, and the music is so great that I was actually falling asleep a lot while playing this game, to the point where I was like, I'm not making any progress. I'm spending 30 minutes on it at a time every night and passing out. So finally, after about 9 months, I beat the game. In 9 months, but I only had I think it was 110 hours in the game. Which 110 hours is a lot, but over 9 months, it's spread out. It's not a whole lot. So that's about 10 hours a month. A little over, maybe 11 hours a month. And so, I enjoyed it. I thought Final Fantasy VII was cool. I've never played any other Final Fantasy. I've never played, I guess Pokemon is RPG, and I've never beaten Earthbound, but I've gotten pretty far into it. I just got caught up on a couple things that I didn't understand, but it seems quirky. I recently played Undertale just to give it a try, and it's not bad either. I wasn't crazy about it. I didn't love it, but it was interesting. It was different, at least. Lots of shades of Earthbound in that one, because Toby Fox was a big, or I guess is still a big Earthbound fan. I'm trying to think of other RPGs, or JRPGs. I never played Dragon Quest. I never played a lot of JRPGs or RPGs, really. So it was really out of my league and really random that I'd want to try that, but I thought, I've got several friends that really enjoy it. It's something. I'll try it and see. And I've tried a lot of games before, purely for the point of feeling like if I'm going to be this great YouTuber, that I need to play every game or experience every game or at least know a lot about games, or if I'm not going to play, I need to watch playthroughs of every game. And I'm going to be the one that knows everything about every game. The problem is that I've tried so many games over the years now that I've tried to make myself a jack of all trades and knowing a little bit about every game. But just like with most things in life, I feel like the more games you try to learn, you know less about each one. There's games that I still know a ton of, or a ton about, but at times I do regret, and I wish I could just only stay into a couple of games and just get really into those and be super dedicated to those. That's how I kind of was as a kid, and even in high school. If it wasn't Mario or Zelda, I probably wasn't playing it. But boy howdy, I played the heck out of those. I had hundreds of hours in those. I probably I knew those like the back of my hand. I could have played them asleep in bed somehow and beaten it in a night's sleep if I wanted to. I'm not that way anymore. I usually play a game and then I move on to other games, and I rarely replay games a lot unless it's a game I really love. Maybe I'll play a game a couple years later when I think about it. But yeah, RPGs, man, JRPGs. I can't believe I ever decided to try Xenoblade, but like I said, here I am. I'm loving it. I think it's incredible. So far, nothing bad to say about it. It's really early to say. My buddy told me don't be surprised if it becomes one of your favorite games. And maybe it might. It very well could be. I don't like to speak that early and that strongly about it. And the last thing I'll say about this before I go is I am worried just for the fact that it's been hyped up to me to such a degree that instances like that in the past, those games have kind of fallen short or flat at some point for me. The biggest example was when I played Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, because it was one I didn't grow up with. I grew up playing Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, and then right around when the Wii came out was kind of when I went to PlayStation and Xbox and was playing a lot of sports games. So I never really played And I know that Twilight Princess was on the GameCube, but I mean, it came out on the same time as the Wii, and in that era when the Wii was being introduced. And so, I was, I'm not really a Twilight Princess guy. And then in high school, when I started getting back into Nintendo games in my later high school years, and I get a GameCube again, I end up trying Twilight Princess. But you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna really enjoy it. And the same friend, that was one of his favorite games for a long time. And he's like, "Oh, you gotta try it, man. It's so good. You'll love it. If you love Ocarina of Time, you will love Twilight Princess." And I kept thinking, like, I held it up to such a high degree and kept thinking the whole game was going to be amazing. And Twilight Princess has a notoriously slow start. It's just very dull. I mean, the first couple hours are a drag. And that's one of its biggest shortcomings, is that it's hard to get into. Like, if you can be a trooper and stick it out those first couple hours, you'll have a grand time. The second half of the game is one of the best second halves of any Zelda game by far. But man, I put it down and I didn't want to finish it. I even tried it again later with him. We played it together and I wasn't fully into it. It took a third time finally. I was like, you know what? I really want to like it. I really want to play it. Supposedly all this crap in the second half of the game is really good. I'm just going to, even if I hate my life, I'm going to truck through and finish this. And I did, and I ended up not really hating the first half of the game as much as I did, but once I made it to the second half, I was hooked, man. I loved it so much. And now I look back on the game very fondly, and it is a favorite game of mine. So, and I've had other games like that in the past. I tried Arkham Asylum and like the Batman games, it just wasn't really, I know those are really beloved, and that's a hot take, but I liked the Spider-Man games more, the Marvel Spider-Man games. I don't think these games really spoke to me. Maybe it was just that I'm playing it after the fact. A lot of the games I've noticed like that are games that were big when they came out, and when I go back to play them, they're not the same as when I played them originally, or just because I didn't play them when they came out in their heyday, they feel a little dated, or I don't have that nostalgia for it. So it makes me see it in a different light. And so that's kind of what I'm worried about with Xenoblade, is that it will be hyped up to such a high degree that I'm looking at it under the microscope all the time. And, the first time that something gets slow, I'll be like, well, this is disappointing. It's a letdown. Or, gosh, this is, I just got to rush through it. And I just want to take my time and enjoy it because I know it's such a big game. There's a lot to do. So I want to give it its due diligence and the justice it deserves. And heck, if it's good and I end up enjoying it, I plan on playing 2 and 3, and then I've been told to play X after that. And then of course, if I finish all those and I still am a fan and I enjoy it, then who knows? I'll probably get Genesis when it comes out. But last thing I want to say, just inspiration to all you other guys out there that don't think you're RPG guys or JRPG guys. That's completely fine. You do not have to be like me. You do not have to try any. You'll be fine. You'll still be able to go to sleep and wake up the next morning and continue about your daily life, and that's fine. Don't let anyone guilt trip you or force you into playing those games. It doesn't make you any less of a gamer. It doesn't mean you're not an epic gamer, you're not serious, or that you're a casual. I think you should at least respect the genre and let people enjoy those. Let them enjoy it. Like with me, I was like, I never hated those games. I just said, oh, they're not for me. I never claimed they're bad games. They're just not my type of games. But now here I am trying it. So, and I'm sure at some point I'll be told to get into Persona. I'll be told to get into the Dragon Quest games. I probably already have with both of those from various friends. So who knows? Maybe I'll give them a shot at some point. Some of them I might love. Some of them I might not. That's okay. That's why gaming is fun, because everyone likes different things. If everyone liked all the same things, it'd be pretty boring. And that's about all I have to say.